Scooby Dooby Doo. Scooby Doo Doo. We are live.
Boom, baby.
Stoncast streaming. The boys are dreaming. This says Twitch is acting a little funny here. Pretty, pretty, please. Scooby Dooby Doo. Scooby Doo Doo.
So we're not live on YouTube, right? Just Twitch.
Well, I'm not getting the error for YouTube anymore. So
Interesting.
let me check on my phone. Yeah. Oh, I actually got a notification on my phone. Whoa.
Well, I guess that answers that.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay, okay. Let's go. Let's go.
It's been too long. We're
One
back, baby.
whole week.
Man, this felt like longer than that.
Yeah, it really has. Excuse me, everybody, if you're out there listening, aka my wife. Can you hear me? Oh, your desk just rose.
It did. I could actually stand up if I want to get wild, but I'm not going to do that right now.
I'm going to remove Ben from the group for that. On Char's anniversary. Uh, that's enough. That's enough shenanigans. Yeah. So you should, people should be able to tune in on YouTube now,
I'm sharing it now.
and Bingo Bongo. My name is Pongo. We're ready to rock and roll.
Ready to go?
The audio's not working for me once again. It gives you the option to preview these tunes, and I don't know what tune this is or how loud it's going to be. So let me make a mark in the clip, and then let's rock and roll. Well, actually,
You're
let's
doing the opening, right?
yeah. Let me look at shoot. What's up? What's our opening script? You sent it
I
or
did.
not, didn't you?
I did. If that's what you want to use. I like it, but
I did. Oh, I really like it as well.
if we're talking about the same thing.
We are.
Okay. Of course we are. Of course we're on the same page.
Of course.
What kind of show do you think this is?
You think this is some jackleg show?
No. No.
If anybody's listening in, they're probably thinking like, why are they doing we just started. Why are you doing the intro after you start? Well,
It's a great
for the
question.
one person who's watching, Morgan, it's
We're
says a
sorry for
link
the
right.
redundancy, Morgan.
Yeah, I can't find it. Can you send it to me again or put it
Yeah,
in the Stockcast show notes. And I've only got 5% battery, so you got to be quick.
Boom. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, you had a bigger one. You had a much more expounded upon.
Oh yeah. All you gotta do is scroll up.
I was trying to scroll.
Let me see.
You sounded so like disgusted with me.
No, never. Gosh, we sure have text a lot now.
Yeah.
Where is it? I'm finding it.
Let me
Hold on.
search Stockcast. I'm gonna find it before you.
You probably will, because I'm doing it the old-fashioned way right now.
The old scrolly scroll.
Yeah, my thumb is killing me.
Welcome back to Stonkcast, the average market. Oh shoot!
I found it. You want me to
Average
send it?
market show. I got it.
I'll drop in the show notes while we're at it. How about that?
Yeah, that's better. That's a better option.
All right, you want to drop a marker?
Yeah. New marker.
Let's go. How?
There's a if we upgrade, there's like an option for a teleprompter. A teleprompter would be great.
I wouldn't be mad about it.
All right, here we go. No, that's Thursday's tune.
Yeah, we've already done that one.
Here we go. Welcome back to Stockcast, the market show for the average Joe. I'm Ethan with my co-host Brandon, whether you're a diamond-handed degenerate scouring the market for the next call or put, going up 500% or a more conservative swing trader or investor, we're here to provide the latest market news and give our 2 cents. This is Ethan.
And this is Brandon. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It is, what is today? Anyways. Oh, yeah. Sunday, February 16th, 2025. Welcome back. Been a while. How you doing, Ethan?
One full week since we last posted or uploaded. And we took a break for the Super Bowl. And then
Yes.
we had a involuntary break on Thursday because I had no power due to ice and snow.
Fun stuff. But yeah, we're back now, and hopefully you're warm. And I'm in South Florida, so I don't have to worry about that. But hopefully you're doing okay.
I'm perfectly fine. Had a good day working outside. Now nice and cozy with my Champion sweatshirt. I was thinking today, I didn't realize how big Champion was. And like,
you mean like as a company?
Well, like in the current cultural zeitgeist with like, I don't know, fashion and whatnot, I feel like a lot of people are into Champion now.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of like Carhartt, right?
And my mother-in-law, she works for Hanesbrand. Yeah. Yeah. So she works for Hanesbrand, and they cut their contract this year with them to be a manufacturer. So hey, a little bit of insider trading right there. Um, but so they had this big like sale at the end of the year. You like pay $20 and you can put as much product as you can fit into like the 20-gallon black trash bags. So she like bought $100 worth of those trash bags and just brought home like tons of Champion sweatshirts and sweatpants. So I have a solid color matching sweatpant and shirt for like all of their base colors. So you would think that I'm like balling because they're like $40 to $60 per, like sweatshirt and sweatpant. But I'm not. I'm just very fortunate.
I'm not. You just have a fresh outfit for each day of the week now.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
But
it.
anytime I go out into public, I see everybody looking at me, and I'm like, hey, that's all right.
Hey, I like it.
So hey, that's enough about my digs. I want to know about your digs and this fresh, updated background you got going on here. This looks beautiful.
Oh, this little thing right here. Yeah, so I redid my podcast studio, as you can tell. We got this nice little neon sign here. And got some floating shelves. Got a few different upgrades here, some of my favorite trading books. We got technical analysis using multiple time frames, which I'm sure we'll get into at some point. One Good Trade by Mike Bellafiore. We got The Intelligent Investor, of course. I mean, it's literally the investing Bible according to Warren Buffett, so got to have that up here. And I mean, we gotta love some meme culture. So, yeah,
Pepe.
and a little Pepe, and then I got the Wall Street Bull up there on the top shelf with the moon, of course. So, compliments to my wife for interior design. And yeah, very excited to be up and running here. And of course, we got to have the Stonkcast. We got to be on brand. Got the Stonkcast photo there. So yeah, I'm very excited. Got the new setup. Feel good now. Long way from shooting in the garage on episode 1, and yeah, we're good to go here. So sweating. Yeah, Ethan and I have talked about this offline, but if you look at the shorts from like our very first episode, I am very clearly sweating in a lot of those because I'm in a garage, people, and there was no AC out there at all. So yeah, we've really come up since then. So
yeah, we're on the come up, everybody.
We are. Yeah. So all right. So enough about us. Here on Stonkcast, obviously, we're here to bring you the latest news and yeah, trading, investing for the average Joe. We got a jam-packed show. We haven't been here in about a week, so a lot has happened in the past week. We got a few different things we're going to cover here. We're going to talk a little bit about Elon Musk and OpenAI. I think we're also going to be covering some crypto information, the latest on GME from Ethan, of course, and a few other things. So yeah, let's start off. What do you want to start with, Ethan?
We could talk about Musk and OpenAI. I love that he calls him Scam Altman.
I haven't heard that. I like that, actually. I like it.
Yeah. But so he had a bid to purchase OpenAI, and that fell through. Is that what happened?
Yeah. So according to Benzinga, Elon Musk's OpenAI bid basically fell flat. So OpenAI rejects Musk's $97 billion acquisition proposal. So the board of OpenAI has turned down a substantial 97.4% billion acquisition offer from Elon Musk and has and his investors, right, along with him. Obviously, it's not just him. So basically the group of them, right? According to the Wall Street Journal, the decision was communicated via letter to Musk's lawyer, stating that the offer was not in line with OpenAI's mission. OpenAI's chairman, Brett Taylor, stressed that the company is not for sale, and the board unanimously rejected Musk's offer. It's interesting. He didn't have to throw in that unanimous. That was like a little extra something there, right? He could just said, "Hey, look, we appreciate it, but we're gonna pass for now." No, unanimous. So that's the latest with Elon Musk. If you want, we can briefly just take a look at Tesla. which I think is interesting because Tesla has had a bunch of different news, obviously related to Elon Musk over the past couple days, including this AI bid. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here, and we can take a look at what is going on with Tesla right now. Tesla over the past couple weeks or so has just been selling off hardcore, like hardcore. And basically we moved from 420 all the way down to like the 330 area. And then over
Yeah.
the past couple days, we've started to get a bit of a recovery. So give me a second. I don't know. My sharing feature is
Wrong
not
screen.
working right now.
Wrong screen.
Wrong screen. Anyways, yeah, so Tesla, we've seen a bit of a recovery over the past couple days from 329 currently up to 362, especially on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we're starting to get a bounce there. And if you look for the reasoning behind that, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if you saw anything on this, Ethan, but it looks like the government is buying up a bunch of Cybertrucks. Is that right? Did you hear anything on that?
No, I initially thought that they were buying up a bunch of Chinese EVs. Chinese EVs. That's what it
Interesting.
says.
Interesting. Yeah. I think that's what I saw. I think I saw somebody out there can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the government is looking into purchasing some Cybertrucks. So you have that. You also had the speculation with, Elon with his OpenAI bid. Obviously, that fell through. But and I mean, just from a technical standpoint, I mean, I can't really share it right now. I'm having trouble sharing the screen. But if you just pull up Tesla, it is definitely been beaten down over the past couple weeks, and we've kind of hit this point now on a technical basis where we could be due for a bounce. Tesla's been insanely fun to trade. If you are a trader, if you like volatility, which anyone looking for profit should, Tesla has been it, and it looks like it's going to continue to be that way at least for now, whether it's on the downside or upside. But definitely something to
Yeah.
keep an eye on, especially this week. We'll get into the overall market and what the week ahead looks like, but Tesla definitely will tie into that. So that is the Musk OpenAI news.
Whether you're a short king like Shkreli or an open call king like
There you go.
Char.
There you go. Either way. Either way.
All right. What you got next?
Yeah, so Intel. So INTC came out with some news um, over really the past week. The interesting thing with INTC, if anybody remembers, this particular stock was in the Dow Jones up until about November when they got removed from the Dow Jones, and it tanked hard. And now, basically, according to Benzinga, there are rumors suggesting that Intel Corp could be facing a turning point with a potential US backed joint venture with Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, ticker symbol TSM. So that is the juicy news on Intel right now. The deal would involve TSMC deploying engineers to Intel's advanced fabrication plans to ensure the success of Intel's foundry business. So very interesting. Obviously, part of the reason that Intel got booted out of the Dow Jones, which, by the way, is extremely hard to do. I feel like once you're in there, you're in there. There's only 30 of them in the Dow Jones, but it's kind of like the dinosaur as far as indices go in the market. But they got kicked out of there, and the reason they got booted in part, things weren't going that great, right? And so this news with the semiconductor industry is definitely interesting. Wish I could show my screen right now because the chart for it has, oh, here we go. The chart for it has been very, very nice. I'll pull up INTC real quick here so that we're looking at a daily chart. Hopefully, if it pulls up, But basically, yeah, there you go. Right. So if we take a look here back in how long ago was this? So this was actually back in July of last year. We were trading right in the 30 range, and then we had this massive dump. I think initially it was part of earnings. I forget the exact date that they got booted out of the Dow Jones. I believe it was November, but someone can check me on that. So we dropped from 30 all the way down to 21, and it's kind of been slow ever since then. Not a whole lot of movement. But the interesting thing on Intel Corp is that this past week it had its best percentage performance since like the 70s is what I heard, which is just absurd.
Oh
So,
man. Yeah.
yeah. And if you look right here, this yellow line, this is the 200-day moving average. So if you look over the past 200 days of the stock, this is the average price it's been trading at. This is a huge level on a daily chart such as this. Typically if you're below it, you're bearish. If you cross above it, you're signaling an uptrend, right? And as you can tell, we are like right there. So it's going to be really interesting this week to see if it can finally get above there. But as you can tell, this past week we had this very nice movement, and a lot of volume to go behind it. So that's where we're at there. So definitely with the semiconductor
Lots
news,
of green candle.
lots
Love it.
lots of green candle, lots of green candle. Yeah. So that is INTC. Ethan.
Looks like they closed, or at least over the
Yeah.
weekend, they're at $23.62. Does that look
Yeah.
about right? Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, 2360 is what they closed at. Yeah. So um yeah, so very interesting stock, very interesting story. The chip making ability, right? I think that's something that the president and a lot of other people definitely want to keep in the states. They want to strengthen that market for America, right? And so
Yeah.
this is obviously one of those things to pay attention to see what kind of partnerships happen. So,
Yeah. Well, I'm looking now. I'll show you my screen here and take this over. I'm looking if those of you have been watching know about Max Payne. Uh, still show me as your screen.
yeah, I'm trying to
Could you
disconnect.
stop showing, please?
I would love to, but it looks like our studio is lagging. Reconnecting.
Oh
That's fun.
no, that's
That's
funny.
fun. Well,
Okay,
we'll
well,
wait for that to come
maybe
back.
it'll catch up. I'll put
Maybe.
it up in post either way.
Okay.
Um, just take a screenshot of that and then email it to me or whatever.
Yeah.
Looking at maximum pain, if we look at the strike uh, prices and maturities for options this week, for the $21 is the max pain. $21 strike price is the max pain. Um, I could see a really heavy short this week because it's currently what $23 we said. Um, if you look at the max pain chart, $23.50 all the way down to $21 is 37 million dollars paid out at 23.50, 30 million paid out at 23, 23 million paid out at 22, 17 million at 22. So if I'm reading this chart correctly, the open interest has a very high amount of volume at those strike prices, $23.50 down to $21. So it's multiple millions of dollar bills that would have to be paid out if these options are actually exercised over $21 this week. So I think that's what you're going to see is a pretty aggressive um, fight to bring it back down from $23 this week. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
You look concerned. You're concerned with your screen.
Yeah, no, it's Riverside is not serving us well at the moment. Unfortunately, I was a little preoccupied there. But yes, the Max Payne is it's I've always loved the idea of it, especially for trade ideas. I think it's great. And I know you kind of covered that well for us a couple weeks ago. So I'm definitely interested in Intel, and I would imagine too, I haven't checked it, but I would imagine that the IV on these contracts are probably not that crazy. Which means if you continue to get moves like this, you don't need a ton of movement to get a lot out of your contracts, basically. So, um, yeah, right now the implied volatility is 65%.
Implied volatility.
Right. IV implied volatility, and then you have basically the current historical volatility. Typically, implied volatility is going to be higher than what actually ends up happening, which is going to be your historical volatility. And so, right now you can look and see that the current historical volatility percentile is 39%. So, 39% of the time it's going to be lower than that. But yeah, I mean, you could just look over here and see the amount of calls that were bought, the amount of puts. This is just from Friday. So a little over 1.1 million calls were bought, and only 300,000 puts were bought. So that kind of gives you an idea, right, where the market is right now with Intel. So that is INTC. Sadly, my screen is still frozen, so I can't stop sharing. So if you want, we could just move on to something else, and I'm more than happy to pull up whatever chart we need, Ethan.
I love it. Okay, let's check out SPY and QQQ. Let's get a little check-in on that.
Let's do it.
Type it into your razzle dazzle machine.
Yes. All right. So this is SPY, and all it does is go up. That's what we do in SPY. If you need to make money, you just park it there and it just goes up. This is not financial advice, of course. I'm only joking, but this is the past year.
Right now.
This is the past year of SPY, and all it does, it seems, it has these dips and then it goes up, dips, goes up. And we kind of talked about it, right, with the tariff news, which I think was like, I don't know. It was somewhere in here, I think. But it just continues to roll up. Let me take off this volume profile so I don't confuse people. But yeah, it just keeps going up. I mean, we literally hit an all-time high on Friday. How insane is that to you, Ethan?
An all-time high of SPY. It really does just keep going up.
It just keeps going.
You can't keep getting away with this.
It's kind of like my neon graph up here, it just keeps going up. So yeah, that's where we're at with SPY right now. And if we take a look at QQQ, the tech heavy NASDAQ index, yeah, I mean, it's going to essentially mirror it as well. So yeah, that's basically where we're at right now with the markets as a whole. And the interesting thing about this is when you kind of tie in everything that's been happening in the markets with like the tariff news, inflation, we had a hot CPI report that came out. And so when you, yes, let's do that. I think I can finally stop sharing. which is great. Uh, so yes, let's dig into some of the latest news with the tariffs. So right now, the market is basically taking Trump as how can I put this? Basically, all bark, no bite. That's the best way I can put it with the tariffs. Would you agree with that, Ethan? Like that's basically where we're at right now, at least with how a lot of people are, taking
I
it.
I guess so, since he had to like ratchet up his tariff. Um, I don't know what you would call it, but I mean his tariff counterplay to the point where he's now, what did I don't know when he signed it, but last week he signed the executive order that he'll match tariffs tit for tat.
Yeah.
Whatever some country is charging us, we will now charge them. So yeah, I think
Right.
it seems like his initial play didn't really pan out the way he wanted it to. So he just said, you know what, everyone is getting hit tit for tat, and yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, that's exactly what I'm seeing too. And I think overall for the market, it's a good thing. Um, because,
yeah,
you and I were, I mean, we were live that Sunday night when, we were looking at the crypto market and anticipating what futures were going to do. And it was a bloodbath that next day on Monday after he announced, the tariff plan for Canada, for Mexico and China, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, like this is going to crash the economy." And it was as we suspected at that time. It was an overreaction. Um, how do I know it was an overreaction? Well, because we're trading at an all-time high. And if it was really that bad, we shouldn't be at an all-time high right now. So all you gotta do is look at the price action to see that. Um, so coming from Benzinga as it relates to tariffs, this was back on February 13th, so a little dated now, but as far as I know, nothing new has really come out on this. So I think this is the latest. Trump launches plan for reciprocal tariffs. S&P 500 nears record highs. Dollar tumbles. So he announced on Thursday, Donald Trump, that is President Trump, a roadmap for enacting reciprocal tariffs on countries that impose duties on U.S. goods. Despite the announcement, investors remained unshaken as the move had been widely expected following Trump's hints the previous week. So, this was something that investors were anticipating. This is something they knew was going to come. And you
yeah,
know what the market loves, Ethan? It loves being able to predict what's going to happen. It loves stability. It doesn't like uncertainty. Um, it loves boom boom candles, right? And that's exactly
yeah.
what we've gotten from this. So I guess
I think
what do you make of it?
Musk. Well, I was going to say I think Musk called it. Whether or not you like him, hate him, he said that the market will move in the direction that causes the most entertainment. That's kind of paraphrasing, but we're kind of in a era of trading where that is true, where
Yeah.
the market will react in whatever direction causes the most hubbub.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that I don't know, that's kind of in line with like max pain theory, right? When it comes to options, whatever
Yeah,
direction is going to cause, the most losses for us, right? That's typically the way it moves. So that I agree with you, like, and I guess I agree with Elon on that. I think that what we've seen over the past week is think about how many people based off this tariff news were probably short, right? There was a lot of people trying to anticipate the break. Okay, we're at all-time highs. We get the tariff news. There was a ton of people, probably a ton of money short. I didn't pay much attention to the option chains for certain indexes, but I would not be shocked at all to know, there was a crap ton of money on the put side. And so, yeah, when you get this kind of announcement that catches the bears off guard, you got a lot of people kind of, I guess, for lack of a better term, getting squeezed out. It's
Right.
not exactly what we would classify as like a short squeeze, right? But just again, for lack of a better term, there, you got a lot of shorts going, oh, shoot, let me close this, along with the bulls hopping in because they're seeing good news. They're seeing something the market predicted and they're anticipating higher highs. And so I think the combination of those two things,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So you get a little boom boom action. You get some shorts that get scared, right? And this is what you get. You get an all-time high. And it seems ridiculous on some level, especially considering, inflation being so high. Um, but, markets can stay overbought for a long time. So that's kind of it's where we're at right now. I don't know. Any thoughts on it?
I think what's the quote? The market can
Oh, you want me?
you know what I'm
I know it. If you don't have it, I got it.
break it out. Let's hear it.
The markets can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent, right? Did I
Yeah.
get that backwards? No, that's it. Yeah.
No, you
Yeah.
got it.
That
That's
It's a great saying.
yeah. And I think
It's
that
great.
like it encapsulates what's happening right now. 100%.
Yeah.
There's no prediction for where anything is going to go. I mean, we didn't predict
No.
for
Yeah.
tariffs to like ramp up so dramatically that like they did either.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to share my screen again in case I get frozen. I want that to happen, but I'll just go ahead and share with the fine people. Um, Something called the Fed Rate Monitor tool. This is from investing.com. As of right now, our next Fed rate decision is going to be March 19th. And as of right now, there's a 97% chance that we stay between 4.25 and 4.5 basis points. There's a 3% chance that we bump that down to 4%. So essentially, the market is saying there's a high likelihood that rates do not get cut, which Jerome
Yeah.
Daddy Powell basically confirmed for us this previous week. So no
Oh,
shocker there. But it's going to be really interesting over these next couple months if they don't lower rates. We keep getting these hot inflation reports coming out. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the price of eggs. Been a few reports that the Fed is watching eggs very closely, very closely. I don't know how you like your eggs, Ethan, but I like a little sunny side action, and I would really hate if the price of eggs kept going up. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But
I like them
yeah,
scrambled, and Jerome is making sure that everything stays scrambled. That's for
stays
sure.
scrum. Yeah, that's for sure. So, anyways, all that to say, um, we're not anticipating a rate cut anytime soon. So if you get that combined with continued hot inflation reports, I guess we'll have to see what March looks like. But as of right now, it's hot. And how much higher can the market go? I don't know. I don't know. So
I like
that,
it.
yeah,
Do you want to roll into your Buffett Siri uh, uh, news here?
sure, sure, we can do that. So Warren Buffett basically released his Berkshire Hathaway updates for Q4 this past week, and so everybody was kind of dissecting that, trying to see where the world's most successful investors putting his money, what he's selling off, things like that. There was a lot of stuff going on in there, but one of the things that I found very interesting. Warren Buffett now owns more than 35% of SiriusXM shares. Is that something you would have predicted, like as far as like an industry that he would be involved in? Because I did not. I did not, but I'm also not Warren Buffett, so
The man loves Coca-Cola. Maybe the Coca-Cola's getting to his head.
maybe it's getting a little warm, you know. So he spent about 54 million in latest round of purchases. This is according to Morningstar. Shares of SiriusXM Holdings Inc. climbed toward a 2-month high Tuesday after Berkshire Hathaway disclosed that it boosted its stake in the satellite radio company to more than 35%. So
You know
Buffett's
that
doubling down.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds crazy because it sounds outdated because you associate Sirius with the radio.
Yeah,
And
that's what I
you
do.
just, you think of a radio and you think, oh, that's old fashioned. Nobody listens to the radio. They all pop on Apple Play or whatever in their car and they roll from there. But I would reason that he's probably making this purchase based on the infrastructure and the satellite infrastructure rather than some play on radio's coming back. It's coming back, baby. But instead, he's thinking there's a solid infrastructure in place that can be used for communications, could be used for surveillance. I don't know if surveillance is really his top priority, but I would guess that he's probably investing more so in the infrastructure than the actual radio as a medium.
So you think this is strictly an infrastructure play, is what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the definitely the radio side seems very what's the word I'm looking for? Antiquated, right? It's very outdated. I mean, when I got my car, I drive a Volkswagen, and when I got it, it was like one of the like sign up for 3 months of Sirius XM. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. What do you mean? I have an iPhone. I can just play
yeah.
iTunes or listen to Spotify. It's outdated. It feels like, especially for a certain generation. I'm sure there's still people out there that use it. But
I will
yeah,
say I do
I
like the programming. I do like the programming of Sirius XM, but
yeah. To be honest, I've never really looked into it. I know they have a lot of different radio shows and stuff like that. Um, so I'm sure they got great material. But yeah, I agree with you. I think there's more to this than meets the eye. So um, yeah. So that's Warren Buffett's latest setup. He's buying big on Siri. So I guess let's kind of look at this, Ethan, from a obviously Buffett's in it for the long term, right? He's an investor, but if you were looking at this from the trading standpoint, let's just say let's keep it short term, right? Let's say 1 to 2 weeks out, based off of what you're seeing on the charts here. Over the past week, we've kind of gone up from 22 up to 27, coming up to the 200-day moving average, which is a big thing. It's huge, right? It can signal a new trend. I mean, what do you see based off of this chart here? What would you be looking at as far as like calls, if anything? Because it it looks like it's gaining a bit of momentum, and obviously that would make sense based off of what we now know from Berkshire Hathaway, right?
yeah. Let's look here. Let's go back to our Max Payne. See what old Max has got to say. And at least for the options chain coming up this week, the Max Payne price is $25, and it closed 27.33.
Hmm.
And so I would see this week alone there to be
Here, I can
Max
pull up
Payne.
the
The 28th is $24.
so the
February 7th is
28th.
25. So if it trends in the current direction that it's going to continue to be in the Max Payne zone. So I would see it correct back down to like 25.
So you'd be looking at puts on this, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Short-term put, long-term calls.
Long-term calls. Gotcha. Yeah. So just taking a look at the open interest for the week ahead, right? So we take a look at the strike prices for the options on Siri that are, going to expire on Friday. So we have a shortened trading week, by the way, right? Because tomorrow's President's Day, market's not open. So really all you have is 4 days. And right now there is a ton of open interest at the $30 strike price for the calls, which makes sense. It's a round number, psychological number, right? So we got 3,831 contracts open there. You can go buy one of those bad boys right now for $3. And then on the put side, it looks like there's a ton of open interest at 22.
Join the ranks. There's currently 4.69 billion is the open. I don't know how you would say that, but that's the current amount of calls that would need to be
Yes.
or sold rather at that price
So
point is 4.6 million.
Yeah. So 4 point. Oh, okay. Yeah. I get what you're saying. So yeah. So there's a ton of open interest there. So yeah, I could see a pinball in between 22 and 30, especially we're talking about, Max Payne, right? But definitely something to keep an eye on. If I was looking at this, I'm not currently in it, but just taking a look at this year chart right here over the past year, it's definitely curling up. Like to see that. I think that I agree with you. I think short term it's a bit overbought. I think it needs to cool off a little bit. But I would be interested in, maybe 2 months out. So, contracts with 45 days on them, maybe. And I would be interested in the 30s for that. So we'll see what happens. And it looks like I am currently buffering again to stop sharing my screen. So if you have any other charts you want to throw up while we're dealing with tech issues yet again, Ethan, go for it.
I think
or anything else
think
you
I
want to
hear
cover.
something.
Oh,
I think I hear. Is that a fax machine going off? Oh my gosh,
they still make those
again. Yeah, it's Michael Wilcox. He's given us our field report update for the past week. This is Michael. This is our update from Michael Wilcox, senior field agent out in Twin Cities. He's been watching Boss Powell and all the Fed for a while. He's got an update for the 10th through the 16th. He said the Federal Reserve maintained its current federal funds rate at 4.25% to 4.5%, signaling a cautious approach amidst political turbulence. Currently, Elon Musk, now heading the DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency Service, is advocating for a comprehensive audit of the Federal Reserve. It's very interesting. That's a move that has intensified scrutiny of the institution's operations. That is a bold move. So during his congressional hearing this week, Powell exhibited a composed demeanor, yet a subtle tightening of his grip on the podium when questioned about Musk's audit proposal betrayed underlying tension. And Michael really watches Jerome closely. His assertion that the economy remains robust with a 4% unemployment rate and inflation nearing the 2% target seemed rehearsed, perhaps to project unwavering confidence amidst the brewing storm. I think that's probably true. That they're trying to project confidence. Now, the Maverick, aka Musk, his public endorsement of auditing the Fed, supported by Rand Paul. Rand Paul has been clanging that bell for a very long time to audit the Fed. That's disrupted the status quo. His casual yet pointed remarks about transparency have sown seeds of doubt about the Fed's opacity, challenging its longstanding autonomy. So, what's the market impact for that? The markets have entered a state of heightened volatility. The mere suggestion of a Federal Reserve audit has led to fluctuations in bond yields and a cautious stance among investors. The stability of the US dollar faces potential threats as confidence in the central bank's independence wavers. The financial sector is on high alert, bracing for possible regulatory upheavals that could reshape the investment landscape. So, in light of these developments, the following strategies by Michael are advised. And Michael wants everybody to know that this is just for entertainment. We're not actually providing any financial advice. Short positions focus on financial institutions with significant exposure to regulatory changes as increased scrutiny may impact their operations. Things like banks and whatnot, credit unions. Long positions, consider investments in commodities like gold, which traditionally serve as safe havens during periods of monetary uncertainty. And now, the general populace remains oblivious to the brewing conflict between the political forces and the Federal Reserve. Stay alert, stay vigilant. The financial battlefield is evolving. Michael Wilcox out. Oh, another great one.
Oh, man, he is just doing excellent work for us out there. Thank you,
Excellent.
Mr. Wilcox.
What do you think on old Boss Powell and these potential moves that are coming out here?
Yeah, so I guess my initial thought is to kind of sum that up, right? To wrap it up. So basically, we're looking at
Yeah,
potentially uh shorting or buying puts on the financial sector. Is that kind of where we're at?
yeah, yeah.
So
Assuming, yeah, assuming that assuming that there is an actual audit of the Federal Reserve, yeah.
if there's going to
And
be
then
an
of
audit.
course the 2 weeks ago we talked about the
So let's take a look. Yeah, go
where
ahead.
they were going to perform that what's the word I'm looking for? The In order to simulate some sort of financial fallout. So of course they had that simulation that they were going to run through in the coming weeks. That sort of signaled that they were trying to prepare themselves for some sort of financial fallout. So that coupled with some political strife with the Fed, um, and a potential audit being happening, I could see how that would really trigger a lot of tumultuous volatility with financial institutions. But what are
So
you seeing over there?
so for me, right, this is the beauty of I guess the balance between Ethan and I. Um, basically Ethan is
Okay, I seem to have lost Brandon. I lost his video. Come back. Hello, man. Well, while we wait for him to come back, let's look at some of the most from the past week. Tweet by crypto analyst. Some of the main points that he had was highlighting Bitcoin's brief dip below 95,000 due to inflation concerns, and he encourages investors to hold steady amidst market fluctuations. As far as the tweet by Stock Guru, it was celebrating Coinbase's impressive Q4 earnings and revenue growth. So discuss the positive impact on CoinStock and potential future performance. So if we looked at Coinbase this past week, they reported a 138% increase in revenue for Q4 2024 with earnings per share of $4.68, which far surpassed expectations. Some other news for the market performance: the S&P 500 remained relatively stable, with the 500 ETF Trust, or SPY, trading at $609.70. As far as sector highlights, technology stocks faced challenges due to emerging global competition in artificial intelligence, while healthcare and financial sectors showed resilience. As far as the crypto market, we've got some cool things happening. We've got some regulatory shifts. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, has adopted a much more crypto friendly stance under acting chairman Mark Ueda, pausing its lawsuit against Binance to potentially resolve the case through a newly formed crypto task force. As far as market volatility, Bitcoin experienced some fluctuations, briefly dipping below 95,000 due to inflation concerns, but recovering to around 96,000. And there's potential corporate adoption. GameStop shares rose nearly 8% following potential reports of investments in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, signaling increased corporate interest in digital assets. And that's something that's kind of floated around the subreddit on Stunk, the Super Stunk subreddit. As far as some other points that we could make, the on February 10th, GameStop CEO Ryan Cohen shared a photo with Michael Saylor, co-founder of the company formerly known as MicroStrategy. They dropped the micro in that, which is known for being the largest institutional holder of Bitcoin. This post fueled speculation that GameStop might be planning a Bitcoin related initiative, contributing to a 7% rise in the company's stock price. Now, as far as the market reactions and some theories to that, the photo led to discussions about potential collaborations or investments by GameStop in the cryptocurrency space. Some theories suggest that GameStop could be exploring Bitcoin integration into its business model, possibly accepting Bitcoin payments or investing in Bitcoin as a corporate asset. So these are just speculation. They're just speculative. Ryan Cohen could just think that Michael Saylor is a cool guy. He could think that he's just someone who was intuitive and got into the market with Bitcoin very, very early. But that's to be seen. So we'll see. So GameStop, are they buying Bitcoin? Are they just looking at it? Are they hanging out with Michael Saylor because they just want to have fun? We don't really know. But okay, Brandon, you're back. What happened?
Boy, we are just cursed with tech issues. I'm afraid to share my screen. But what I was gonna say, regarding the financials, just to circle back there, my apologies. Uh, um, I think that when you look at the chart for XLF, which is the sector for the financials, right, out of SPY. If you want to look it up on your own charting software, XLF, it's going to show you the overall financial sector um, within SPY. And obviously, along with SPY, it's very close to all-time highs itself. But the interesting thing is there's certain indicators that you can look at to,
Mhm.
get an idea of when a trend is starting or ending, things like that. And what I was trying to say before the internet rudely cut me off, the balance between Ethan and I is that, Ethan is more of uh, thinking of things as it relates to the markets from a fundamental standpoint. Is that fair to say, Ethan? Definitely more of like digging into the news, digging into the Federal Reserve and the decisions they're making and how that's going to impact certain sectors. Whereas for me, I come at things from more of a technical standpoint. I'm looking more so at price action charts, things like that. Although, I think it's fair to say we both use a little bit of both, but we kind of lean more towards, Ethan fundamentals, me charts. Anyways, all that to say, when I look at XLF, the financial sector, from the standpoint of technical analysis, while it's close to an all-time high, when I look at something like the MACD, which we'll do a deep dive on that at some point, but it's basically just an indicator to help you see where a trend may be potentially ending, beginning, things like that. The interesting thing is that while the financial sector is going up technically on the chart, the momentum behind that up move seems to be dying off. And so, I think that's very interesting. Typically when you see a rally, when you see a stock going up, for example, you see a lot of momentum behind that. And when you see a divergence, where something's going up, but hey, maybe the volume isn't backing it, you can see an up move, for example, where the volume isn't as high as it used to be, not as many participants, but yet the stock price is still going up. That should be a red flag to you from a charting standpoint, from a technical analysis standpoint, that some of that buying pressure is dying off.
Mhm.
So it's interesting that you said that, because when I look at the chart, what I see is kind of confirming what Michael Wilcox is telling us, which is that things are kind of, they may be turning. Obviously, we need some more data to confirm that, but at least what I'm seeing from a chart standpoint is, we're losing some of that momentum there. So, I mean, if we just look at some of the top stocks in the financial sector, I mean, we're talking JP Morgan, for example, is going to be one of the bigger ones. That had a nasty candle on Friday where it hit an all-time high and then instantly rejected, um, and actually ended red on the day. Another one to look at would be Visa. Visa is also another large holding. So, I think the best thing that you can do if you are interested in getting short, having a bearish outlook on financials, keep an eye on the top holdings in XLF. So again, JP Morgan, Visa, MasterCard, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, those are going to be some of the big ones there. Keep those on your watch list, right? And if you want to make a bearish move, buy puts or whatever, however you want to express your idea in the market, it's definitely worthwhile to have some of the big boys there. Because while some of the better opportunities might be in financial stocks that aren't as strong as the big ones are going to be the leading indicators of what direction that overall sector is going to head. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Ethan, but yeah, it's just my thought.
No, I like it. I think we should have a MACD episode in the future. That'd be fun.
Yes, yes, I would definitely love that. We should do that.
I went
So,
through it while you were gone, but just for your sake, I'll review briefly what I hit, and as far as like crypto and what happened with crypto this week. Uh, there were some regulatory shifts. So the SEC has a new acting chairman who's a lot more friendly to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And so they dropped a lawsuit against, or they didn't drop it, they paused a lawsuit against Binance. So it's potential that they could resolve that, and the SEC could have some kind of pro Bitcoin and cryptocurrency stances there. And then Bitcoin experienced some fluctuations. It dipped below 95,000 due to some inflation concerns, but recovered to around 96,000. And then I could see Bitcoin really breaking back up over 100,000 in the next like 2 months. And then GameStop rose 8% after some reports of potential investments in Bitcoin. All this was really based off of, though, was a picture of Ryan Cohen with MicroStrategies CEO Michael Saylor, Micro, or formerly known as MicroStrategy. Now it's just Strategy. They got rid of the micro. I think they were a little self-conscious of that.
Had to
Um,
shorten up.
but Michael Saylor is a huge Bitcoin advocate and a institutional investor. And so that's where the hubbub came from. Is maybe GameStop is getting involved in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin as a corporate entity. Who knows? We'll see. And then
So
Coinbase reported a 138. Yeah, sorry.
no, sorry, not to cut you off. I was just curious on what do you see? Well, really two things. What do you make of
Yeah,
the GameStop news, right, as it relates to some of these crypto investments that they're supposedly allegedly going to be diving into? How do you think that's going to impact, I guess, the overall financial standpoint there? And then also, how high do you think Bitcoin's going to go this year?
we're break. We're going back up to 100 grand. As far
Yeah.
as or
No, I
100
agree with you
bands.
on that.
As far as GameStop and like Bitcoin is concerned,
Yeah.
there's been conspiracies tied up with it for like 2 3 years. There's this idea that in order to force the shorts to close, that somehow that they would issue a dividend as a digital dividend. I think there's one other company that has done it. The name is escape. It might be Overstock. Overstock.com, I think, issued a like cryptocurrency as their dividend one time. Um, and somehow there's some financial machinations that would occur where this would like force shorts to close and cover their short positions, and this would result in having this big, massive short squeeze again. um, but then ultimately, if GameStop invests into Bitcoin, what could I see happening to the stock price? I would see it like go up, of course, because I think that cryptocurrency under the current administration is becoming less like taboo, and we're
Yeah.
gonna, I think, enter into a new like crypto friendly environment moving forward,
Yeah.
and specifically with like Bitcoin and Ethereum and whatnot and Solana.
Yeah, not so much for the lesser known, riskier, altcoins, but definitely for, the strong ones, right? Bitcoin, of course, being the largest, but I agree. I think Ethereum, Solana as well, would you say,
Yeah.
is also an interesting one. It's yeah, I think we're really gearing up for a very interesting year with crypto. That's more your wheelhouse, so that's why I was asking your take on it because everything I'm seeing news related right now, it just overall it just feels bullish. It feels bullish. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, news can hit the wire that changes that, as we all know. But as of right now, that's what it looks like to me as well. So
Yeah. I think Bitcoin is it's going to have some dominance again, and the altcoin season is either going to stay the same or it's going to drop. But I think right now the altcoin, kind of the environment that it's in, is kind of dried up. It's not. It's There's not a lot of hubbub with altcoins right now. Yeah.
yeah, great. All right, what else we got?
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
GameStop potentially buying it up. Uh, 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 Potentially buying up Bitcoin
did
from
you cover
stock
Coinbase
ID. I don't know what that
earnings?
means, but thank you. Yeah, Coinbase earnings. Coinbase earnings came up
Co-
138%. Uh, they reported a 138% increase in revenue, which is
That sounds good.
crazy.
Sounds real good.
138%. Yeah, yeah.
I'll take that.
Um,
What's driving that?
Compared to, so their earnings per share this quarter or this earnings is $4.68 per share compared to $1.04 per share last year.
Wow.
Which that's ironically that's going to drive more volume into Coinbase, and it's going to your earnings per share doesn't always reflect the volume of investment into it, but
True.
their transaction revenue rose to 1.6 billion from 529 million last year and outpaced analyst expectations, which was at 1.26 billion. So a couple hundred million above expectations. So they just performed really well. Um, they apparently were the crypto exchange a la mode. Everybody wanted in on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that. And they looking at the chart, we had huge volume from that earnings. It is above the 200-day moving average, which is bullish. Looks like the all-time high for it is 349.75, and we're currently at 274.31. So,
Yeah.
it looks like there's some support right around 265. So if you want to entertain that on the long side, we had a pretty red day on Friday where it came down. So if it was me, I would be waiting to see if we hit that floor there at 265 and then try to get into some calls for a move up. But I would want to see some confirmation first. But yeah, I think might come back down another $10 before we turn around. So we'll keep tabs on that. But man, those are awesome earnings. So um
And then Creed asked thoughts on Nvidia. I got some calls coming into earnings. We talked about Nvidia a week or two ago, probably about 2 weeks at this point, and Brandon brought up that they had a significant market capitalization loss of like 600 billion in one day,
yeah, it was
and
insane.
and most of that was driven by competition from China's DeepSeek. So it's a lot more
Yeah.
cost effective of an AI model. And when you think about a AI model being more cost effective uh, versus less, that's going to cut into NVIDIA's market position because their whole development for their GPUs was contingent on AI continuing to kind of have this upwards trend of of capacity of GPUs having to have this like higher capacity in order to operate them. And so the fact that DeepSeek came out and was much more cost effective as an AI model kind of cut into their product and their competition because it showed that those high end GPUs that they were going to start developing and had been, working on weren't going to be as, I guess, necessary as previously thought. And then this also came up is reports from this month highlighted concerns with the RTX 5090 GPUs, which specifically related to some melting power connectors. So there's some hardware issues. Um, so I think between the hardware issues kind of eating into consumer trust, as well as kind of the deep seek getting into the fray with I think that they're definitely. I would honestly put them at a sell. But if you want to be cautious, you could put them at a hold. I mean, Nvidia's been like a bull in the past like couple of years, especially with AI. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
but you're right. Crypto in general will be bullish during the Trump admin. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, I agree with that too. And just circling back to Nvidia, I mean, it's we had that mass. I still can't believe how much it lost in like one day. That was insane. And that was right here. This was back on what was this, the 24th of January, right? We lost all that market cap. And since then, it's recovered pretty
Trying to
nicely.
eat it back up.
It's trying to eat it back up. Yeah, I think the big level that I'm paying attention to right now is 150. On a shorter term, though, I want to see the scap fill right around here, like 142. So right now we're at 138, so about $4 off from that. And about $12 off of the psychological level, I would argue, of 150. And then that high that we hit back on January 7th of 153.74 is also right there. So um
Yeah.
we'll have to see how that goes. I'm bullish on Nvidia personally for at least the short term. I mean, we bounced right off of the 200-day, well, not right off of, but it recovered off of that 200-day moving average after that massive sell-off, and it's recovering. I think I would be more concerned with Nvidia right now if it didn't, respect that 200-day moving average and we continued to sell off and we were down in like the 110, 100, creeping up to like the 100 level. But the fact that we've recovered, which is just insane after all that, and we're coming up to an all-time high again. I think, you can't look at the chart and not think, hey, this is bullish, at least on the short term right now.
Yeah.
So,
But I will, as a cautionary, aside, it is bullish, but it's bullish to get back to where it was previously.
true.
So it's kind of like betting on the guy that tripped in the 400-meter dash at like meter 100. He's got to run really really quick to get back up to pace.
Yeah.
Um, as far as like the product sentiment with the consumer market, I think that that's going to really eat into it. I mean, institutional investors are going to really pay attention to their product as far as AI is concerned. People that are just building computers aren't going to care. Um, but yeah, they're going to have to really push hard in the next quarter. I feel like to I feel like get back to kind of eating the ground that they were before.
And there's so much competition now. There's so much
Yeah,
competition in that area. I think one of the overlooked stocks in that industry, specifically with AI, is AMD. I think they kind of got pushed to the wayside. Um, because Nvidia was like, really obviously taking a lot of the market share. Um, but there's just so many people. I think I saw a story about Meta getting into the space a bit more than they have been in the past. Mark Zuckerberg wants to, push more of the AI stuff. So I mean, there's a lot of competition. So it'll
yeah.
be
I
really
mean,
interesting.
chip demand is going to continue to rise.
Sure.
There's going to be no doubt about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So all right, great. Anything else on your end, Ethan?
No, I think that's it. I think we covered a lot of ground for our first day back in a week and some change.
Yeah, yeah, it's good to be back. We will work out the tech issues. Bear with us, and we'll continue to hone our craft, so to speak. Real quick, just a reminder: the markets are closed tomorrow for President's Day. Then they are open again on Tuesday, so we have a shortened trading week. As far as the major U.S. economic calendar for the week ahead, we don't have a lot going on. I think the only thing I'm really paying attention to is going to be Thursday, February 20th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. We will get the initial jobless claims report. Looks like right now the median forecast is 215,000. The previous was 213,000. So, you want to see that initial jobless claims come in ideally below the 213K mark. If it's above that, significantly above that, the market could have a negative reaction to that. But beyond that, you got some Fed speakers talking, as Ethan has shared before. Boy, do they love to talk. And we got a few of those coming up. Consumer sentiment on Friday, February 21st at 10 a.m. And yeah, that's about it. I think we'll be back. We'll be back on Thursday. But other than that, I think we're good, Ethan.
Yeah. I was I was trying to think what's the sign off. We've got a great sign off.
Oh, yes, our sign off. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, whether you're going long, whether you're going short, whether you're being a degen or a mature investor, just remember, plan the trade,
The trade
trade the
and
plan.
trade the plan.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Man.
Good Lord.